The Church Solutions Podcast, number 411, episode 411. And my name is Phil Thompson.
And I'm Steve Lacy.
This is the second week in a row I couldn't remember the name of our podcast.
Oh, how can you? It's only been 411 times, probably more.
Much more than that over the years. I don't know. Must be getting old. Hey, you notice I put on my Streaming Church
Hey,
shirt.
now that you mention it, I do see that.
Yeah, I got my little shirt here that says
Nice.
Streaming Church logo on it. Nobody, I mean, if people, if you go to our YouTube channel or if you go to, I guess, our website, you can look at the video of these podcasts. But anyhow, for what it's worth. All right. How are you doing today?
Doing just fine.
All right. We are rapidly heading towards Christmas time.
Yes. So we've got a podcast episode that's called, what's it called?
Don't let tech problems ruin your Christmas service stream. That's actually the name of the blog. So if you're following at home, if you're keeping score at home, just go to blog.streamingchurch.tv. I don't know if we'll call the podcast the same thing here, but that's what I'm going to look at here as far as the notes that I put together.
Yeah. It says end of October was the date on it.
Yeah, well, I was trying to get ahead of, I was trying to get,
Okay.
you know,
So
trying to
you
plan ahead here,
all right.
but the podcast, I mean, you can do some of the, you can use this, these truths are universal, right? They're timeless. So you can use them all the time. Don't let tech problems ruin your streaming service, or in this case, Christmas, or in this case, in another case, Easter, you know.
Yeah. So, and you've got a graphic that I got to tell a quick little story on. The graphic on the blog post is you and I are both really, really ancient. And my kids wouldn't have any idea what I was talking about, but there used to be problems on the TV, like broadcast channels, and it would come
Yeah.
up and it would say technical difficulties, please stand by.
Yeah.
And that will get shown on the TV, and you've got that shown on a TV with and so when I was a youngster, I don't know how old I was, I got up from our family's watching, and all of a sudden the technical difficulties, please stand by. And I got up on the from the couch and I went and stood by the TV, and my parents go, "What are you doing?" And I go, "It said to stand by." So I thought that would fix the TV. So
Stand by.
yes. So I was I was probably 21 then. No. I was a
You're
little peanut back then.
That's funny.
I
We
do
used
remember it though. And I was thinking, it said to stand by. I'm doing what they're telling me to do. This is gonna fix the TV. What are
That's
you
right.
guys thinking?
That's right. Yeah. We used that term in broadcasting a lot when I was in radio for many decades, only 2 decades. But yeah, we used to use the term stand by. And I still have a friend, Adam Colwell, who still uses that when I talk to him. It's just, anyhow, just memory stuff. So look, Christmas is coming up here, and you're going to have more people watching your stream. Even if you have, we're out of COVID, obviously, but still, you're going to have people watching the stream for Christmas, Christmas Eve, because some of people out of town.
A hybrid church is a reality.
Yeah, it is.
So,
Which I just wrote a blog on that too, by the way. That's on there too.
churches, if
Yeah.
you're watching online, you're an attender.
Right.
So there
Yeah.
you're not I remember early days, our small church, I was one of the deacons or whatever, and so I had to stand in the back and count the heads. And now I would need to count those heads that were there and then go count those that were online. So
Yeah. Yeah. The numbers count. People matter. And many people will be watching online of what you're doing. And so let's just jump into some things here that you could use. If you're a pastor listening, pass this on to your tech team. If you're the person in charge here, some of this stuff, obviously you're going to know, but it's good reminders, right? So let's just jump in there, shall we?
we shall.
All
So
right.
number one on the list is plan ahead. And this is kind of just got off the phone with one of the pastors that's been working with us for years and years, and they're going through a really tough time right now. They had some deaths in the family, and they had some streaming problems a few weeks ago, and it was just really frustrating for them. And so we spent some time with him, and this key one about planning ahead, and there's some others that we're going to apply here, is kind of what we recommended with him. Couldn't really enunciate what the issue was, but he just knew he was frustrated and things weren't working. So anyway, so
Yeah.
planning ahead. So what do we mean by plan ahead?
Well, planning ahead is so important, and it's not, you should always be doing this, but especially during Christmas time, because you may have some extra stuff going on, right? Some extra activity. Maybe you need to move the cameras to a different location or a different area where they're not normally at. Maybe because it's Christmas time, you might need to have some different graphics or overlays. You might want to make sure you have plenty of chat monitors. And the bottom line is you just really need to make a plan and begin to, look at things, evaluate what's coming up and make the changes. But it's so hard to do it when like, oh, we're streaming tomorrow morning or whatever, we should probably think about this. No, you should think about this now.
Yeah. At our church, they often do a very traditional service, the week of Christmas, or or where it's singing Christmas carols and doing that sort of thing during the service. So the participation level, and people typically will dress up more for the Christmas one than they do for other services. So if we were planning ahead, I would suggest for our church to get a mobile camera operator. So
Elaborate on that. What do you mean by that?
I think that since the congregation is much more involved, and it's kind of a special thing, singing Christmas carols and all the Christmas decorations are up, I think more shots of the congregation would be in order, as opposed to, we rarely have, any shots of the congregation, or if we do, that's all the backs of their heads and that sort of thing. But
that's actually a very good point. I'll send this over to Jeff Love. But
yes.
I think you're right there, especially, with the Christmas and maybe, I don't know if you guys have a candlelight service, or that would be great to get a video of people with all the candles lit.
Yeah, we do a thing over Easter that's a candle lit service. I think on the Christmas, I think they do the pass out the candles with the little tray thing around them, and so everyone's holding candles, they're dressed up, they got family, they're singing Silent Night, and it's just a really different experience, where it would the week after Christmas, or the week is going to be very different. We're going to be back to our normal with fixed cameras, but multiple camera shots. But they're mounted. Cameras are either mounted somewhere, they pivot and zoom, but they don't. You can't walk around with them.
Well, that's a good point, though, because again, it's your services for the Christmas Eve may be different. And so you've really got to think that through if you're in the tech team, and really, you really need to talk with the whole leadership team about what's going on, what's going to happen, because sometimes, the order of service changes. Maybe different people approach the platform. Maybe there's different people doing roles. I know the church I was at, we actually had multiple people. I think I read a Christmas story one time, and different people doing and involved in the service. So you need to make sure you know what's going on if you're on the tech team.
And the stage area often is decorated up for Christmas with all the Christmas decoration stuff. So it becomes a bigger part of the service than the tight shot on the pastor. So showing the whole Christmas decorations is something to consider.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, let's move on here. So plan ahead. I mean, and I know by the time people are listening to this, there's probably only a couple more weeks left if you actually subscribe to us, the Church Solutions podcast. But still, you got enough time to talk and think some of this stuff through. So let's move on here to point number 2 when it comes to how to avoid tech problems so that they don't ruin your Christmas service. So what's number two? I don't have my
Number two is
glasses on.
really around promoting your stream. So this would be just as usual. You want to promote your stream and let people know they can attend in person or they can attend online.
So how do you promote it? What do you use to promote it with?
You would use the tools that you use within your church to promote whatever you're promoting within the church.
Okay,
So
so newsletters.
newsletter, emails, social media, the weekly bulletin, um, whatever is working for your church communication wise, you want to use those channels and let people know that we're going to stream the service. For friends or family that are far away and don't have a church they can call their own, have your members invite their family and friends to attend online at your church.
I still love the idea, and your church, which used to be my church, uh, does this, and that is they put signs up in front of the men's urinals, and so when you're standing there, there's a sign that they switch it out all the time, so there's something else going on, and if you not that I go to bars that
Yeah,
much, but
that's
it's sometimes you go into a bar or you go into a restaurant, you go into the bathroom and you'll see some
yeah,
advertisements
that's
in
a
there.
trick that the churches learned from restaurants and bars.
Yeah.
Yes,
So I like that idea. So again, it's and
because
really the bottom line is you should be doing this all the time. You should always be talking about your streaming video all the time, but especially for these special events.
yeah. So, and then moving on through our list here, if you want to avoid some faux pas, make sure you're using high quality equipment or at least equipment that is consistent and not going to cause you troubles. So if you're struggling with something, every few weeks where this thing doesn't work, that thing doesn't work, maybe it's time to invest in some new equipment.
It's very easy to tolerate stuff if you get used to it and yeah, we just need to reboot that thing again, or yeah, we need to unplug it and plug it back in, or yeah, that cable's not very good, so if you just move the cable a little bit and then you'll get, and then it will work. And it's easy sometimes to tolerate that stuff, but you might, it's Christmas Eve service and you jiggle the cable and all of a sudden, hey, it's not working. Every time I jiggle it, it worked in the past. Why isn't it working now? And that's because you should have changed out that bad cable.
Yeah, exactly. So, and the next one on the list is actually this pastor I was on the phone with. He's going to do this. He's going to do some test runs.
Yeah.
So you want to, is a smaller church and he kind of considers himself somewhat of a one-man band. So if something's going wrong, a lot of fingers point back to him and he's presenting a message. And so it's very challenging for him to, oh, let me go fix the stream or explain why this thing isn't working to this camera person or whatever.
Yeah.
So you want to do some test runs to exercise your equipment and make sure that it is working prior to getting into the now we're live situation.
Yeah, especially if like we're talking about special events or special service like Christmas or whatever, especially if things have changed a little bit and you've moved things around and you're doing something different with the cameras or even the audio. Yeah. And it's ideal if you're able to do a test stream while everything is set up. Maybe hopefully it's set up the
Yeah.
day or two before. And then, you can do that in that environment. You want to try to replicate as much as you can. But yeah, testing is so important, and we get lazy. It's easy to get lazy and it works fine, we'll be fine. And
Yeah, we're gonna have the creasters coming, right? So
yeah,
you don't want to have issues when the creasters are there because you might not have an opportunity to make up for it.
yeah,
So
absolutely. Yeah. So do a test, do a test run, do multiple tests if you can. So all right, shall we move on?
yes, and some of these are just principles for streaming, every weekend. So
Yes.
next is engaging your audience. And just like, we talked about, we're in hybrid worship mode now, and people have invested for years in the in-person crowd with putting greeters out front, having ushers, having an information booth, whatever the typical things that a lot of churches do now is set up so that new people to the church know where to go and how to react. So you want to make it easy to do that similar kind of engagement. Take those roles that you have in person and translate them online so
Right.
that, you have a greeter out front, or you have an usher that translates into having a web host online. So someone that's going to say, hey, how's it going? And answer any questions.
Yes, and then also not just the person monitoring the stream, but we'd also encourage the person on the platform speaking. The cameras might be pointed to her and him, her or him. They need that person on the platform should always be acknowledging the online audience, the online members, the online viewers. It also it translates it. There's a couple reasons for that. One is if I'm watching a stream and then somebody says, hey, we're glad you're watching, thanks for being here online with us, and I'm talking the actual pastor or whoever's doing the speaking, but also it reminds your congregation, hey, there's a bigger world out there. It's not just us in these four walls. There's other people watching, and potentially all over the globe.
Yeah. And there's, different schools of thought, but one of them is, you have cameras in the auditorium, and people want to typically hide those cameras because it takes away from the scenery, or having a manned camera walking the aisles. But that too also reinforces, hey, we live in a hybrid world now, and we've got people watching online as well as people in the studio, in the sanctuary.
Right. Yeah, exactly. All right. So I don't have my glasses on. What's next on our notes?
I gotta lead you by the hand, huh?
You do.
And I do have my glasses, otherwise I'd be in a similar situation. Make it available to watch later.
Oh, so that means record it.
Yes.
Okay, so you want to record it. Yeah, and look, there's so much you can do with this. Again, people out of town or whatever, they may miss the service, but they might want to see the Christmas service, the Christmas Eve service. So recording it and making it available, easy to find on your website, just like your streaming video link should be easy to find. But also, I want to say here, while it's good to have the whole service recorded, you really ought to consider maybe doing some editing and posting maybe some video snippets. They call them now shorts. Some people call them reels, depending on the platform. But it's great if you could do something and make it so you get maybe clip a point where it's a 2-minute or 3-minute point, and post it online.
Yeah, and interesting fun fact. I don't know if it was from our last. It was from our last webinar. We ran some stats on average views, and it was really high in my opinion. There was, I think, average views was 73. And if I was to look at average, these are on demand, stuff, videos that have been on demand, and this goes from the videos that get tens of thousands of views to the videos that get, in the ones and less than 10. But the average was 73, and I bet if I was to take averages of, taking averages of live attenders, it's I think your on-demand views are going to greatly exceed your live views.
So you were saying 73 views. That's for the average video. One video averages.
Video, yes.
Yeah,
which would be one live service.
Yeah.
Would be it. You're lucky if you're getting, depending on the size of your church, obviously. And we have all size churches with us. So 73 is,
yeah.
The on-demand stuff, it's going to get watched. And I'm telling you, it's probably going to get watched a lot more than the live stuff would.
Yeah, I think overall, the shelf life can be really good. Make it available for people. Make sure you have a good title for it. Make sure there's some good SEO content in there. And then also, I mean, not to shamelessly plug us, but we will. I mean, we've got tools now where you can take a message and it will, we call it the sermon clipper. Right. And I was trying to, we all call it different things, but it's really called the sermon clipper. And so, if you actually subscribe to us, if you actually use streamingchurch.tv for your streaming video, if you go to media management, you'll see in your admin control panel, we have a sermon clipper that will actually take an entire message and do what I was saying earlier. clip it up and make it so that you could post it on different platforms and then direct people back
And
to your website.
through the power of AI analyzes what the highlights were in its opinion and will create video clips of the highlights, and then allows you to select, I like this one, I don't like that one, and this one's, yeah, you're right on this one, or no, that one's a dud.
Yeah.
So but it's all automatic. All you do is record your service, go tell Sermon Clipper to go look at that service, and it takes a few minutes, and come back and it'll say, here's what we found, and you choose the ones you want, and then you can download them and post them. No effort on you, very little effort on your part. It's a freebie.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great tool to use, if you want to reach people, because people, unfortunately today, a lot of people just won't sit for a long period of time. So but you can give them a clip, and a clip will help entice them to learn more about whatever it is you're talking about.
Yeah, and it'll even give you the social media post title.
That's true. Yeah, it's pretty cool little tool. So if you need more about that, just hit us up, streamingchurch.tv. All right, so let's move on here. So yeah, you ought to record your services. Make sure you do that. I'd record it multiple places, but let's move on. I still don't have my glasses on. What's next? What's next on this thing?
Next on the list, consider using a live streaming platform that allows for multi-streaming.
What's that all about? What does that mean?
I was going to ask you. What is multi-streaming?
Well, you could stream to multiple destinations. So you could have a platform that allows you like for us, let's just plug us. Why not? We have a platinum plan that allows you to send one stream to us, and then you can set it up where that one stream that you send to us can go to your social media platforms, like what's out there now, Instagram, and Twitter's no longer Twitter. Twitter's called X, but Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, those kind of things. So you could go to different places with just sending one stream. If you have a company like us, streamingchurch.tv, that allows that. You could also, if you had a live encoder that gave you the ability to stream to multiple destinations, and you had plenty of bandwidth at your location, and your CPU is fine, you could also do some of that yourself too.
Yep, exactly. And we encourage, you want to send to social media and other places, Facebook, YouTube, just to expand your reach. But we encourage to make your church website your hub for all your online ministry. So
yeah, because that's where people go. Yeah. I mean, I'm sorry I cut you off, but we do that to each other, so I'll just keep going. But I think you can get your people can get distracted on YouTube and Facebook, right? I mean, I get distracted. I was posting a video today and I saw something, that looks really interesting. Oh, look at that. And 5 minutes later, it's like, oh, I need to finish my job here. But so it's easy to get distracted. So if you have people going to your website, that's where all your content is, and let them get distracted with stuff you have that could actually help them and encourage them.
Yeah, and allows your people to focus on doing ministry online from your website. So it's more challenging to be able to do ministry in 6 different places at once on a bunch of different platforms. So
all right, let's move on here.
All right, our last one on the list here is using a streaming service that offers analytics.
So you really want to know who's watching, where they're watching from. It would be good to know what devices they're using,
how long they stuck around, this solo artist sing and half your audience left, and you may not want to do that again. But
yeah, it helps in the long run. It will help you as a leader, to know what's working and what's not, right? I mean, you want to know what the results are. And so when you have good analytics for your streaming video, that makes a big difference in what you're doing and how you're doing it.
Right. And if you can't measure it, it's hard to determine what you're doing is making a difference or moving you in the right direction or wrong direction.
Yeah, absolutely. It makes a big difference. And so I like the fact that, you can see what different with our company, you can see, what devices people are using. I mean, not specific devices, but, is it an iPhone? Is it an Android? Are they watching on Roku, Apple TV? They watch on their computer? Those kind of things I think really help you decide how you're doing things and how you're doing online streaming.
Yep, yep. Because you want to target
Yeah.
your streaming to whatever the particular audience is.
Yeah.
There you go.
So
You put your glasses on.
I did. I put them on. I'm pretty vain. So look, you just don't want to have tech problems ruin your Christmas service, right? I mean, you just don't. And look, it might still happen because gremlins are out there and weird things tend to happen sometimes. But do the best you can to eliminate as many possible problems as possible, right? I mean, you just want to go through things and make sure that you've planned ahead and you've done some testing and you've looked at the equipment. Is everything going okay? Is everything running all right? Do these things and you'll have less stress because it's the Christmas season, and unfortunately, with Christmas comes stress.
Yeah, exactly.
All
All
right.
right, we've reached the end.
We're done here. All right. Well, good deal. So, look, if you have any questions about this stuff, you can always reach out to us. Just go to streamingchurch.tv and you can chat with us live. If we're not there after hours, just leave a message and we'll definitely get to it. And then we'll whatever we can do to help you guys. If you've got a church, and even if you're not using us, we definitely want to help you and help you with your streaming video needs, but also help you with some ancient wisdom. You mentioned how old you were, Steve. Well, you didn't say how old you were specifically, but you talked about when you were little.
I don't think I've ever seen the old technical difficulties. Please stand by on, well, shoot, I stream everything. So I guess when it starts to buffer, that's when I'm just trying to think if there's any real live TV I watch anymore other than it. Even then it's streamed. So
yeah, I can't think of anything, but yeah, it's a fun little graphic. And if people want to know what we're looking at, just go to blog.streamingchurch.tv.
If you're over 40 or so, you'll know what we're talking about. I think.
Yeah, probably over 50, but yeah.
Maybe is it? Yeah. Because it made its way into the 70s and 80s, probably still.
Maybe,
right?
maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Anyway.
All right, we're done here. Hey, subscribe to the Church Solutions podcast. If you have not, it would be wonderful if you did. And if you want to give us some feedback on our podcast, we would love to hear from you. And we've got a lot of things going on here at streamingchurch.tv. It's all designed to help you. So for Steve Lacy, my name is Phil Thompson. We wish you a Merry Christmas. Please take care of yourselves and each other. We'll catch you next time on another episode of the Church Solutions Podcast.